the Rangers Journal Night.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Journal's first post-match pod of the season, in which Rangers beat, as you can see, Panathanaikos 2-0 in the first leg of our Champions League qualifier. Russell Martin has a 100% win record. Who'd have thought it? With me tonight to dissect this then quite quickly, I've got Richard and Stevie. Richard, how you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. Doing well. My night's is ending well, thankfully.
Stevie, how you doing, mate?
Evening, lads. Yeah, I'm very well. Great result tonight. Quite happy with that.
Stevie, I'll just stick with you then, so we'll go straight into the starting lineup. Was there any surprises there for you at all, or were you quite happy with it? Or
No, I wasn't too happy about Dill starting. I guess that's the way it was going to go because he's been playing pretty much every game, bounce game. So I wasn't surprised, but I was still disappointed. I was delighted to see Curtis. Really happy to see him in there. Other than that, I think the team pretty much was what we all expected. Not too many shocks really. But yeah, I would have probably rather seen, maybe Bajrami on for the start. I don't think Gassama could have started his fitness, but yeah, I would say Dill was the only real kind of disappointment for me.
Richard, yourself, any surprises?
I wouldn't say any surprises. I think it's kind of what we expected, judging from what has been observed in training and the matches beforehand. Not say I'm disappointed about Dill starting, but we all expected it. But for me, I would have preferred, honestly, quite a few others, to be honest. But got to be happy with the result overall.
Aye, we'll touch on that. We'll get stuck into that later on. Just then, initial thoughts from myself. I thought we actually started well. You could see the intent was there. First 10 minutes, but again, traditionally we usually do start well, don't we, Stevie? We usually sort of set out the stall and show what we're sort of capable of in the first 10-15 minutes. But then with this adjusting to this new style of play, where we've seen the intensity from the off. Granted, it wasn't really going forward. It was more moving the ball around the back quick. Did you notice that yourself?
Yeah, I thought the first 5-10 minutes was really impressive. I really liked the way we started, but it's a first competitive game, and it's the first team we've played that are actually competitive back. And as soon as Panathanaikos started playing, it was like, I think they got a bit of a shock. Kind of retreated at their shell, but yeah, there was plenty to see what they've been working on. The movement, particularly you mentioned there, really impressive. But it's so early. I don't want to go back in time, but I remember Advocates' first game were 3-0 down to Shelbourne for 45 minutes. And it's like this is a whole new era. I know there's only 3 new signings in the team tonight, but it's a completely different style of play, so it's going to take time to bed in. And obviously we've covered before about the lack of kind of friendlies. I think you can argue against and for that. He maybe just wants to get his style on the training ground, which is fair enough. But when it comes to competitive games, Panathanaikos Champions League qualifier, it's such a huge game, on the 20th of, halfway through July, and it's like, it's here. There's so much pressure. So as well as the new style, they've got the entire pressure to deal with, the financial implications. So there's a lot, to actually consider. So I think the first 10 minutes was really good, and then they kind of came into it. But, second half was a much improved. But yeah, you can see what they're trying to do.
Richard, I know there was a sort of murmuring in the support. Really, obviously, we were looking at a new goalkeeper this summer. Butland, I think, showed why he was picked today. He had a lot to do this first half, didn't
he? He did. Kept us in the game first half. Really, yeah. He was probably our best player overall. We said, in the group chat, we said he needs a commanding performance. First game in, needs to look solid, confident, back to his best, and I think he done that tonight overall.
Yeah, I agree. There was 2 great smart stops there he made. Kept us in the game quite early on. I think if either of those go in, I think it's an uphill battle there for the squad, and I think the players would start, or the fans would start to get on the players back. we chatted about it earlier in the pod. Dave asked me in the pre-match pod about would we have to look out for the dark arts of this Panathanaikos team, Stevie, and we've seen quite a lot of that first half with them going down and looking for cheap fouls and cheap penalties. Did that surprise you at all, or did you kind of half expect it like the rest is?
100%, exactly what you expected. I thought the referee was really good. I thought he kind of booked that lad straight away when he dived. I was like, brilliant. And when you see a referee taking action like that straight away, you think, good, he's going to be consistent throughout. And he was. He took no nonsense. Really solid performance by the ref. But yeah, he was wise to there, as you say, dark arts. And just to echo what Richard said there about Butland, delighted for him. That first half, it really kind of gave him a shot in the arm. I mean, he celebrated one of the saves like it was a goal. So I think it meant a lot for him, like personally, just to give him that confidence. So yeah, delighted for him as well.
Stevie, one thing I picked up a lot in this first half was obviously we're implementing this new style of football. I noticed Raskin and Rothwell were both coming really deep to get the ball, but when they did come deep to get the ball kept going back to the centre backs. We didn't, take it on the half turn and try to look to go forward. And it's another thing I noticed was Curtis as well. Was you getting the ball down the left hand side and he kept turning back and playing the ball back. There seems to be a real emphasis on the team keeping the ball and attacking areas. If they can't do anything with it, recycle the ball and go back again. And I think that was frustrating. I know it was frustrating for me. Did you find it frustrating?
Aye, absolutely. I felt like it was possession with intent. It was almost kind of scared to actually, like you say, take a chance, like really go for it. Like the high risk, high reward. But yeah, I got that. As the first half progressed, that's how I felt. But then Rothwell had a run just before half time where he's like, right, I'm going to go for this. And he just went for it. And it was like, that's what everybody else needs to do. And he kind of set the tone, I think, for the second half. And you mentioned Raskin, that's probably the worst 45 minutes I've seen him have in such a long time. He was dreadful. I was kind of messaging my dad at half time. My dad's like, he needs to have a word with himself. I was like, you're exactly right. He will have a word with himself because he's that character. And he came out in the second half, and what a difference, So to turn it around like he did, I was really impressed with that.
Richard, Danilo had quite a quiet first half, but I felt that through no fault of his own because he wasn't getting much service. And then anytime he dropped deep to get the ball, he ended up giving it away. And I think that was causing a lot of frustration, certainly in the chat and other groups that I'm in, and you've seen it online. I felt sorry for Danilo, but towards the end of the second half, he had one chance where the ball actually played into his feet, and he held it up well, and it made Diamande got a shot in. He sort of grew into the game after that, I thought, because he had a chance himself that was blocked and went wide, and we got a corner from it.
He did. I mean, difficult night for him up there on his own, having to come deep and stuff like that. Like you say, he did make lose the ball a few times. One of them was really silly because it was an easy pass. I think it was back to Aaron's, right? And it was just sloppy, to be honest. But he wasn't the only one in the first half. I was getting really frustrated, particularly with Aaron's. To be honest, I could see obviously what they're planning to do with the inverted fullbacks coming in. But every time he came inside, he was coming into a congested area, and I can see that was a plan for him to, come in, release the ball back to go back out wide for Raskin to hopefully be in space. Didn't really work out in the first half, mainly because I felt that both him and Tav, every time they'd come in, it'd be so congested and they were losing the ball quite a lot. But going back to Danilo, first half especially, not really a lot for him that he could pick up on. What he did do up top, one or two occasions done well. Could see him coming deep to try and get himself into the game. Few mistakes, but that was all over the team in the first half, all over the team. So, but overall, towards the second half, got more into it and started adding value to the team, I thought.
Rich, I'll stick with you on this. Did you expect Suter to have much of the ball and be as much as a sort of ball carrying centre back? I know it's something we've seen him do obviously last season, the season before, but I've never seen him do it as much in one game as I have today.
No, especially not in a European game. We see him in the league. All right, he always steps forward, but he's probably only got one forward, to step away from or try and go around, but not so much in a European game. So it was a little bit of a surprise, but we know it's something that I don't want to say he's capable of, but something we've certainly seen him do domestically. Clearly, he's playing, and that's the way Russell Martin wants to play. Getting him on the ball, doing it, trying his best. Being honest with you, he gave us all quite a few scares sometimes, because just sometimes that touch was a little bit too heavy, and he allowed one of the midfielders to press him. But I can only think of one or two occasions where he put us under a bit of pressure. But yeah, definitely surprised in the sense of watching him do it, but not surprised because we know that's Russell Martin's style of play. We know that's what the defenders are going to be asked to do. So I think we're just going to need to get used to it, to be honest, gents.
Just read that comment there. Half time then came. There was no boos, which was good. I thought obviously the fans had a frustrating first half. I think the team had a frustrating first half as well, Stevie. Particularly, I thought Curtis had a frustrating first half because he didn't really get to take his man on, or he had one or two sort of glimpses of what was happening really and what he could do, but he didn't really get to showcase that. Skip then 5 minutes into the second half. We lose the ball. Arns loses the ball on the half turn again. Ball's played into the box. It's saved by Butland, and then from there, we quick counter attack up the pitch, and then Curtis cuts inside, puts it in the net. What were you thinking?
It was a thing of beauty. But just quickly going back to his first half, you're right, he wasn't great, but as we've covered, nobody was really great in the first half. But he kept at it. He wasn't hiding, he kept looking for the ball. We saw the footage of him in training in the pre-season, and he's so aggressive. Like, just even in training games, he's absolutely demanding the ball. And I think even in the first half, when he wasn't great, he was still there. He was still demanding it, and just kept going, which is great. He's not going into his shell. He's like, I'm a Rangers player, give me that ball. And his goal was just on when he pung it. I mean, he must have been like 30 plus. I think he was just there 30 yards. Yeah. It's a great cut inside, direct, one thing on his mind, and he executed it perfectly. I mean, I really did like the blue touch paper. It was what we needed, what the stadium needed. It's what Russell Martin needed, and it was just such a beautiful finish. I mean, it's a goal of the month contender already, and it's like the first goal. Really delighted for the lad. I mean, one of our own, scoring in a huge game, breaking the deadlock. It was just a beautiful moment for us and for him.
Richard, just your thoughts on Curtis's goal?
I thought it was a great goal. Genuinely, his first touch, vision, having the guts to take it on and not slip. I think, not sure if it was Danilo inside, there was a pass on there, take it on. But you could say a bit lucky with the sort of deflection. It was on target anyway, but he made his own luck. So I'm really chuffed for the guy. Obviously, he's earned his start, done well in training. As we heard Neil McCann say, his attitude is absolutely spot on, and yeah, absolutely delighted, and really, really hope he kicks on from here. And just to respond to Blue Nose John, yes, I am, mate. Yes, I am.
Yeah, I can't disagree with what you're just saying there. I think it's it's a testament to the work that he's done and his attitude. He kept going. He had a tough first half. Martin didn't make any changes. I think there was, from what I was seeing online, folk were more looking for Gassam on at this point, or just a change, just to try something different. But Martin stuck with the players, and it paid off. After that, then I think the Panathanaikos players then start their usual going down. I thought that the time wasted started. This was around sort of the 60-minute mark. Those sort of muscle injuries where they lie down and try and buy as much time as they can, because I think they think, right, if we keep it at 1, we'll have a chance. But then they got a guy sent off, clear second yellow card. Can't argue with it at all, Stevie. It's just one of those ones that probably should. I think there's a couple of other players in that Panathanaikos team probably could have got the same yellow card for similar fouls in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It was absolutely a second booking. Again, good refereeing. Just refereed the game, not the occasion. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're a great. I mean, Panathinaikos are a decent team, but they're not a very good team. Do you know what I mean? I think they've obviously been together for longer than our players, the manager have. But ultimately, I think next week it's still a tough game. But I've seen enough tonight to think, we'll go over there and score. So I'm not seeing the ties over, anything like it. A lot of work still to be done, but we're going to be so much better for that 90 minutes tonight. Playing together, another game on Saturday, a good 90 minutes. Hopefully no injuries. But yeah, we've seen them up close, so I think we can go into next week pretty confident.
Richard, sorry, we'll move on then. So after that, Rangers got a couple of chances. Raskin forces a double save, sort of in the same phase of play for the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper takes a sore one to his arm or his elbow at the time. Maybe being a wee bit critical of Raskin, but he does everything right when he's driving into the box. He sells the dummy, he does the step over, he makes the space. Maybe just a wee bit more composure in the shot, and he probably scores.
I mean, clearly in an ideal world, yes, but he done everything right. He didn't slash at it. He's composed. He sold the dummy, got it on target. Keeper makes 2 good saves. Frustrating. It was starting to feel like, is this going to be, one of those nights? But let's say you can't fault him. Raskin especially, just going on at him in general. I just thought he just really grew into the game. First half, as we've already mentioned, it was a bit frustrating losing the ball. It seemed quite tight on the left-hand side, even though he was trying to make those pockets as Arians moved in. And it wasn't really working, the link-up play between him and Curtis. Obviously, as the game progressed, those two I thought were just... everything almost just seemed to come off of Raskin. But unlucky when he went through and he tried to just use the outside of his foot to cross it in for Dessers, things like that. Other few balls, I think Gasman put him in for one and he could have cut it back for Dio. But overall, it grew into the game, confidence. And going back to what Stevie was saying, really, I think the confidence that the team's got from that rode our luck a little bit at times, but we can be really confident knowing that we've got overall in quite a lot of positions throughout the pitch. We've got the measure of them in a lot of places. Ty's not done, but I think they can be confident going into next week. Raskin especially.
Yeah, I think Raskin in the second half was brilliant. He grew into the game. I think he got what he needed to do in terms of dragging the team up the pitch and dragging the players up the pitch. Granted, the red card helped because Panathanaikos just sat back and just sort of shrunk, which was to be expected. But then that kind of falls into our area of what we know, and it's what we're usually up against week in, week out. When you're at Ibrox, it's a low block, and it's about trying to pick that apart. And that's why Rothwell was signed. Rothwell signed because this is his sort of area expertise is finding that pass and creating these chances.
He's another. Sorry to interrupt me. He's another that grew into the game.
Yeah.
I think we can say the entire team in the first half. Nobody was on it apart from Butland. But Rothwell, you could see his confidence, just little bits in the middle of the park. His little back heel that he saw, things like that. You could see and that's hopefully only going to put him in good stead for next week and throughout. It was quite interesting to see, as you say, about the low block. We know that's what we're going to come up against. Didn't expect it to really come up against it tonight, but it was. You could tell the fans, and myself included, were like, "Go and get that third. Go and get that third." This is what we're going to be playing against every week. So make the most of it. Let's see what you're going to do. And as much as I'm saying that, but I still need to understand, that you need to be patient. One false pass, and it could have been 2-1, and it puts a completely different spin on the tie for next week.
Yeah, I think again it's something you're seeing in the comments here. I think some of the plays, passes from out the back, and the emphasis on keeping the ball, even in the first half, the tight air from the ball coming in from the corner, and Raskin had it. Early on, Raskin had it sort of stuck in his feet, and instead of just putting it out from our corner, he tried to keep it in, and the next thing you know, they have a shot, and Butler makes another great save. I think that'll come be more game time. Players will just take the hit of the corner instead of trying to keep the ball inside their own 6-yard box like that. Stevie, then we'll move on to the introduction of which I'm going to label a new wonder kid. What do you think? They came on the pitch. He's only on the pitch, I think, 3 minutes.
Amazing. I mean, it was like signing a book or something. You couldn't write that. It was just incredible. I mean, I was quite impressed that he'd done a triple substitution. I was quite impressed at that. It really kind of just freshened up. But yeah, what one. I kind of like Curtis. We're very similar. He had one thought in his mind. It's like, I'm going to drive and I'm going to take a pop. I mean, seeing players shoot from outside the box is great because, in the last few years we've really missed goals from the middle of the park. Boys full of confidence, full of tricks. I mean, they didn't know which way he was going to go. He created a couple more chances. I mean, we were unlucky. We're saying guys in the comments, but not getting a third. But I mean, Tav, he had a cross near the end there, which was one of the best balls I've seen in a long time, right across that alleyway between the goalkeeper and the defence. It was perfect, just needed a touch. But sorry, back to Gassama. What a talent. I think he is going to rip this league up. Keep him fit. He's going to be worth 15, 20 goals easily, and goals and assists for us. And in Europe as well, like that tonight. He's not quite fully fit, but as an impact, he's came on, he scored a goal, really getting the fans off their seats. I mean, for £2 million, that's got to be the best business we've done in a long time. Really tremendous signing already. You can see that.
Yeah, no, I agree. You can see why Sheffield Wednesday fans are gutted that he's went for so cheap, because even though he was on the park 2 minutes, scores that goal that's just identical to basically half his YouTube highlight reel from Sheffield Wednesday. And then there was a couple of minutes later, he plays this ball with the outside of his foot in for Raskin, something that we've been crying out for all game. That's the sort of ball we've been looking to play. He's on the park and he's doing it straight away. Ridiculous pass. To really showcasing his ability and what sort of talent this kid's got. So it's something I'm looking forward to seeing in the games to come, because he's one of the ones that gutted that he didn't get a full pre-season with the team, but he's here now. He's contributed already, so we're looking forward to see what else he can give us. Richard, just before the goal, he's made 3 substitutions. He's took off Danilo, Doyle, and Curtis, and he's brought on Egeman, Dessers, and he's brought on Gassama. He went for it at 1-0. He went for it. He wanted that second goal. Obviously, we're gutted it didn't get the third, but I like that. I'd rather do that than sit at 1-0 and then try and take it back and be tight in Greece. What do you think?
No, well, it's a statement of intent, but he said it in his interviews, and he said it plenty of times. It's like, at Rangers, you need to win, and you don't win by bringing on defenders. Even 1-0 up, the opportunity's there. They were down to 10 men. We had the advantage. We were at home. Go for it. And so I think the substitutions, particularly those 3, were right. I'm more than happy with it. And players that can make the difference, second man especially. Obviously Gasmana now, but going on to him especially, just to echo Stevie's points, like that is what that type of player is, exactly what the fans have been crying out for years, genuine years. I can't remember the last time we had someone that, as soon as they get the ball, that's the expectation now, that you get on the edge of your seats, you get excited, they're going to attack. Even though nothing, it won't always come off, although it pretty much did for him tonight. Every time he touched the ball, there was something, an end product from it. And part of me in my head is like, he's just a young kid, it's one game, calm down. But my other part of me is like, no, that's just what we've been waiting on. Let's big him up, let's show confidence in him, let's, have expectations of him, because that's what we have. The Rangers, we expect that of our players, and we expect to win. Same with Russell Martin and the subs he made, so I was happy with it, and long may it continue, to be honest, because that's the attitude we need. No,
you're right. I say the last sort of player, I thought we were sort of getting that from Cherney, but Cherney's wasn't really that sort of player. I thought we definitely had that in Bajrami, because we've seen it early in the first game of last season, Malmo game. We thought that's what we were getting. Didn't quite work out that way. And then Kent is probably the only other player, because obviously he's on that side, that has that speed, ability, directness. So that's probably you sort of how far you're going back.
But that was in his first 2 seasons. His last year and a half, he was nowhere near that player. So that's what I mean. It was since, you're right, probably with him, which was 4 years ago when he had that good season.
Yep.
That's what we've been waiting on. So hopefully it'll continue with him.
Stevie, we huffed and puffed again. Bajrami did come on. They will carry on with his socks. Did you see that with the linesman? The official, they wouldn't let him on because there were holes in the socks or something. But that seems to be all the rage now with these players. I just thought it took him 5 minutes to come on. Whenever from him walking up to being turned away by the fourth official to him going sort socks to come back on again, and he get turned back twice. On there, I don't know if it's been clarified or not.
Yeah, I mean, they really need to clarify whatever that is, because that can't happen again. Because 5 minutes in football is a lifetime. I mean, I know we're already up at that point and whatever, but if somebody's got to get a substitute on, you got on straight away, like no messing about. That's just poor. Like I say, I don't know if the officials are being over the top or whatever, but whatever it is, just clarify exactly what's needed done, because we can't have that delay. Just get yourself on there, get into the game as quickly as you can. He's kind of, I thought, in the footage I have seen him in pre-season, he's quite, I don't know, he looks a lot fitter to me. So I'm quite hopeful that he's going to have a good season. Maybe not quite long enough tonight to really make an impact, but this is Rangers, look at Gassama, he's came on, made an instant impact, so maybe play with better players like that, and that'll drive up his performance. Can I just circle back to the goal? I meant to say this, although Gassama stole the limelight, obviously, great play for Aarons, and the layoff by Igaman, fantastic. It was actually a great team goal before the boy finished it, so I'm really pleased with that.
Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent. It's a goal against us Antwerp, where we started the ball from that deep in that sort of corner flag area, and we worked the ball the whole way up, and it was a great counter attack. I think Morelos crossed in for Kent a couple of years. No,
it rings a bell.
Probably about 5 years ago. It's sort of echoes of that, with the build-ups in that far corner. But you're right. Aarons does well to turn from one side to the other, which he done a lot. Actually, I noticed he turns one way and he's quickly away the other way, and he sends the defender and player away. And then he says, "Igaman, good tight play into Diamande, and before we know it, we're away." So that's something you can clearly see has been worked on. The confidence to do that from out the back, particularly whenever they pushed up so high, which was a rare occasion considering they were down to 10 men, and we took advantage of it, which is something we've can be critical of, is not taking advantage of situations and attacking situations like that across the last couple of seasons now, where we broke away in a situation like that and we've squandered it, or we've always picked the wrong choice. Richard, we huffed and puffed and seen the game out. Igaman had a header. Would have been nice to have seen the third goal go in, and just probably would have settled the tie, I think, if we got a third goal, because I don't see us going over there and conceding 3.
Well, certainly hope not. Yeah, it was one of those. We did go for it, without being stupid in any way, not over pressing and being loose at the back. I think, as I say, the substitutions were right. We were continually pressing without panicking about it. There wasn't just aimless balls chucked in the box from wide. We continually tried to work it. Couldn't get that third goal, but that third goal especially would have killed the tie off, especially with can't even pronounce the guy's name that's been sent off as one of the key players. Him got to be missing next week, so that's a blow to them. But the tie's not over. There's still a lot of work to be done. It's going to be hard over there, in the heat and stuff and things like that. But obviously, the support will be there in the droves, as they always are. But we still need to be careful, tidy, and some of the mistakes that were made today, because there was quite a few at the backs in the first half. Butland, did come to the rescue quite a few times, thankfully, because he needed a good performance as well. So we need to tighten it up a bit for next week. But I would certainly say the tie's in our favour. So we just need to keep the energy levels up, keep the confidence up, and I'm quietly confident now. I predicted 2-0 at the start, so I was never worried at all.
The player that got sent off was Vajadidis or something along those lines.
I'll let you say it.
Like you say, it's 2-0 going to that. It's a good result to take away. You're going to Greece. It's going to be a hot, horrible, sweaty night for them, because even though the game's at 10 o'clock at night, it's going to be humid as hell. And I think you saw today. I think you saw two teams. One team that's played 7 or 8 pre-season games and are well oiled and are well on their way, against a team that's still getting up to pace. I think you definitely seen that in the first half, and I think obviously the goal turned the tie in the favour, and gets the crowd on side. I think that's what, and then the red card, it all sort of fell into our hands at that point. Stevie, then looking forward to the next leg. Then, what's your thoughts? Do you think we'll continue the same way and play the same style of football, or do you think they'll shore it up and just sit back and just invite them onto us and hit them on the counter?
I think maybe a wee bit more conservative, but you said there they've played 7-8 pre-season games. That's only really our third, or actually second game after Bruges. I know we played the Bruges matches, but the quality we've got now, I think all the new signings. I know Aaron's maybe not that comfortable at left back, but he showed enough in flashes to say he's a really good player. And I think he's only played 9 or 10 games in 2 seasons, so he's still getting up to speed. But Jega, centre half, touch of class. He looks really comfortable there. Rothwell, Subs Kasama. I think all the new players really impressed me, and they're a better quality than what Panathanaikos have got. So no, I expect we'll play more or less the same, maybe a wee bit more defensive. They need to come out and chase the game, which will definitely suit us. So yeah, I think we can go there next week and probably win, maybe a score draw perhaps. But yeah, all the pressure's on them. I'd love that referee to be in charge of every game for us this season. We could parachute him to Scotland, an actual decent, fair referee. But we'll see. You never know what referee you're going to get in Europe. But enough there to see us through, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. Go ahead, Richard.
I was just going to say, do you think Dowell has done enough to start next week? For me, although he didn't do anything particularly wrong, a few things in glimpses, got his header, which just went over the bar. But for me, I think he's probably the one that if anybody's going to be shuffled around or moved out for somebody else, I think it's probably going to be him, because I don't really think he done anything magnificent in either half, really. Not that he done anything overly bad, but I think perhaps depending on what's happening in training, somebody else might get the nod ahead of him. I think that'll be the key change next week.
He had a chance just before he went off. He headed it out of the bar. Really expect better for that. So I think he'll be out. Maybe he's in the shop window. Maybe that they're trying to get him sold. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. There's plenty more that I'd like to see replace him. Definitely.
I definitely think he's one that I think most of the fans, most of the comments section won already. I mean, I can understand why, because obviously he's not done much. He's not done enough. It's not, in Rangers games that we've seen that when he's been given a chance, he's had a goal here or there across a couple of seasons he's been here. But as you say, Steve, he didn't do anything bad tonight. I just don't think there was anything really from him. But he did everything seemed to go down the left side, down through Curtis. There was nothing really down that right hand side. And like you say, he had the chance with the header, which I thought, the defender probably did enough to put him off, and at least he made the ball. But I think somebody else, maybe a taller player, more stronger, physical player, maybe does better with that. I don't want to bash him too much. I think it was a big shock, and I think it rumbled plenty of the fans when he was included in the lineup. But Martin's seen him from day one of pre-season. He's been the one that's been there, so he's probably picked him in the sense that he's up to fitness. He's up to task with everything that Martin wants him to do in terms of the system, because he's been there from day dot, so he knows it. So I think somebody else might come in that next week that's maybe had more that needs a minute at this stage.
Lyle Cameron. I'd have him in there in a shot. Now you got Connor Barden at right wing before Dill. Seriously, get more energy at him. I don't know. He's the only one that I don't agree with. I don't want to see him again.
Richard, do you think somebody else will come in next week, or do you think maybe we could have a new player at this point that could come in?
Well, hopefully we'll have a new player, but I think somebody will come in for Dowell. I don't think he's done enough really to earn a start next week. Yeah. It was a solid, 6 out of 10 today. If that's probably me being generous, to be honest. Didn't really do anything wrong, but didn't really have a significant impact in any way. There was nothing going through him. I say most of it was coming down the left. Whether that was the game plan or not, I don't know. So I expect him, to come in. Who for? Whether it be Gasman on the right with Curtis on the left, did they both deserve to start after the performances? Probably a case for that. Whether or not that's an option, I don't know. Or the substitution that was made, Egeman on the right. I think if it was looking at it, that's kind of the two options I'd be expecting.
Yeah, I can see Egeman starting physical, strong, getting the minutes into his legs that he needs, because obviously him and Dessers are behind in terms of pre-season. Yeah, I can understand that. Before we finish up, I'll just give a shout out to our sponsor for the pod. It's Off to the Match I Go. If you head over to the website, you can see there, and then just enter Journal 10 at the checkout point. You'll get 10% off any of your purchases. I'm looking at the comments here. Asgard, yeah, he's got to come back. Obviously, we haven't seen him in the Rangers shirt yet, really. So it's an interesting one. Hopefully he's not, injury's not going to keep him out for too long. In terms of then your man of the match, Stevie, who did you have down as man of the match? I heard the announcement over the timeline. It was Curtis that got it, so to be fair, I have no complaints for that.
Yeah. I mean that makes sense to me. I thought Rothwell played really well as well. I thought his influence in the game was tremendous as the game wore on. But I'd agree with Curtis. That's spot on.
Richard, your man of the match?
Can't really say. Don't really want to take anything away from the young kid, but first half especially and early in the second, Butland kept us in the game. Yeah. Everything that he was asked to do, he done, and he done well. Didn't put a foot wrong. So I think, Butland certainly deserves a shout, but not going to take away from Curtis. Young guy, great goal. So we'll get to him, but close second, Butland.
Yeah, can't disagree with that. I say Butland certainly kept us in the tie, particularly in the first half. I want to give a shout out just before we go to Rothwell. The first time seeing him in a Rangers shirt, I thought everything he did was positive. He was, anytime he dropped to get the ball, he was always the one that was driving forward or looking to play the forward ball or start something. Whereas first half, him and Raskin were dropping, and I always felt Raskin was taking the safer option and going back to centre backs, because Rothwell was the one that was sort of more keen to try and turn and play it sideways and try to get forward instead of just going back the way he recycle it, start again. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in a Rangers shirt personally. I do think he's got a lot to offer. Richard?
Everything he was doing was positive. He was putting in the graft, but there was I think there was a through ball that he tried to play in the first half of going through for Dowell, I think, but I can't remember who blocked it. If it was Danilo, I think. Can't remember off the top of my head. But you could see the intent. The run was there. The pass was on. Almost getting through. And he'd done that quite a few times. Always had his head up, looking forward. He had quite a confidence about him in the middle of the park as well. So yeah, good first game, and so something to build on and build a confidence in the middle. Hopefully, has that eye for that through ball that I think we've been missing.
Yeah, that's the general consensus. I think whenever it was first announced, because I know when it broke that he was coming, everybody was like, "Who's this guy?" And then Leeds fans were lighting up our Twitter saying, "This guy's great." He came from Southampton on loan, and he was absolutely brilliant. What's Southampton, wasn't it? Or is it Bournemouth?
Bournemouth. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I'd never heard of the guy, and then I looked at his stats. And he played 42 games last year, and he only came in halfway through the season as well, and he ended up became one of their mainstays in the team in their push for promotion. So he's definitely got a bit about him, I think. Definitely has, and he seemed when he got the ball, he drove forward with purpose. He wasn't feared to go by players. I think he's a great stride on him, good pace, like a deceiving pace. He can sort of goes by players. What I was watching. Stevie, you want to say something?
Yeah, I totally echo what you're saying there, but he also strikes me as quite a leader in the dressing room. Really good influence. Somebody in the comments there saying he'll improve Dio and Raskin. I don't want to be critical. I'm normally Dio's biggest fan, but I thought he was pretty dreadful tonight. I was wondering if he put the wrong boots on the wrong feet, because it wasn't a good game. But Rothwell was fantastic. Really impressed. But they were all, like I say, all the new signings were impressive.
Neil McCann was saying on the commentary, like Dio was being watched quite closely. Not particularly quite well, almost being marked.
He was.
Not sure that happened throughout, especially after the second half.
No, he was.
I'm not trying to give him full pass there, but first half especially, he was marked pretty tight, it seemed.
Yeah, he definitely was. He had some guy was on him, or if he wasn't on top of him, he was within 3-4 yards of him just to stick close to him. They'd obviously picked him as a player that could do damage or could create things. Because you seen that in the Fenerbahce game last year. Dio had some. In fact, I think I'd say all Dio's best games were probably European games last year. So no, they definitely did a number on him. Tonight, especially first half. I think the second half, obviously with them dropping back, he had more space, and he had the shot from the edge of the box and stuff like that. He did start coming to the game. But we'll close it off there. Russell Martin's got a 100% win record. We're taking a 2-0 lead over to Greece. Thankfully, there's no away goals. They didn't get any. So we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, Richard and Stevie for joining us. Appreciate taking your time this late at night, and thanks everybody for watching. Please just give us a like and subscribe on YouTube just before you finish, and just remember, every night is a Rangers Journal night. Cheers.